Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're pleased to be joined by Jackson County Clerk Chris Walker. Chris, great to see you. Thanks for coming down.
Great to see you again.
So we have an interesting centennial coming up, or it's today, correct?
Actually, today is 100 years ago that my great-grandfather, of course, August Singler, was actually shot in the line of duty out in Jacksonville, actually down by where the old refuge or the old dump location was years later, but the cabin was located right in that central area, and today is the day that he was shot.
Wow, 100 years ago today.
Right, he did not pass today 100 years ago. He passed in the early morning hours on the 23rd of April, 1913. So, of course, today is kind of a solemn day for the family and remembering his legacy.
Absolutely, that's very cool, and it's a fascinating story. He is still law enforcement, Jackson County in the sheriff's, or he was the sheriff, correct?
He was actually the elected Jackson County sheriff. He was sworn into office January of 1913. Of course, he served as constable, though, here in Jackson County for 4 years prior. So most of his accomplishments were done during his time as constable of Jackson County.
Wow. And he's still the only sheriff's department officer, correct? He
is actually the only sheriff, elected sheriff, to be shot and killed in the line of duty. There have been many other, and unfortunately, law enforcement officers to be killed in the line of duty. And of course, we honor them in the remembrance of Grandpa's death as well.
Absolutely, and he does have a plaza, if you will, right outside the jail, correct? Tell me about that.
Yeah, years ago, actually on the 80th anniversary of his death, Jackson County Sheriff's Office, along with the county commissioners, and Ron Walsh, who was a deputy sheriff at that time, really put a lot of work into dedicating the plaza area between the actual jail and the Justice Building in his honor. So that is August Singler Plaza, and there's a beautiful memorial headstone there that basically tells a short description of what happened when he was killed, and it's honoring him in that accomplishment. Yeah,
it's very cool, and I know you're one of many of his descendants.
Yes,
We'll talk about your large family, but first we're going to take a quick break.
Okay,
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Jackson County Clerk Chris Walker. We're talking about August Singler, what?
Great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather,
My great-grandfather.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And so he left behind a family, of course, and quite a lot of descendants in the area, correct?
Absolutely. Most all of our family still remains right here in the valley. He had, of course, 8 children. His eldest daughter was my grandmother, Zita Singler Maddox, which, of course, my mother Diana has been uniform and done so much work on letting his memory not be lost in history. And she really is kind of the patriarch when it comes to the historical nature of keeping Grandpa's memory alive. I will probably take that upon myself, as years come on, and I'm very proud to do so.
Yeah, of course. Good for you. And I'd be remiss not to. Singler, of course, is a name we know as a former sports guy myself.
Very well.
There you are, and August is, of course, related to E.J. Kyle and Ed.
Absolutely, yes. All in the same family, and of course, they're Maddoxes, and my mother married into the Walker family, and we have a presence here in the valley. But sports has always been a huge part of all the families. So my Uncle Terry was one of 5 All-Americans in the baseball program out of the University of Oregon. So he is actually in the Hall of Fame up there. Was eventually drafted into Major League Baseball as well. And my brother went to the Air Force Academy, played football for them. And there's been many other accomplishments.
Like
but
you said,
of course,
a big family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Okay. Now, are there any other memorials that we talked about the plaza out there by the Jackson County Jail? Is there anything else going on in August's memory?
Right now, we do have a congressional order, actually a congressional record that was placed last week back in D.C. By Congressman Greg Walden. And it was a beautiful honor for him. It told the story of what happened with him. It's the family he left behind, which is so important to remember that family.
Absolutely. You said 8 kids.
8 kids.
Very hard.
And of course, large families have been known in my family. I'm the oldest girl of 7 children in my immediate family. So so we have lots of cousins, lots actually of relatives that we either know casually or have not even met before. So, you know, my mom's actually talking about another family reunion here so that the younger generations can get to know each other as well.
That's pretty cool. That would be a lot of work, I know. It sounds like your mom's on top of it, though.
We do. Now, along with that congressional record, and I want to thank Greg Walden for that, it was very important to our family to have that honor. We have H.R. 4, which is House Resolution 4, that is being will be voted on hopefully in the next week or so up at the Oregon Legislature, and that bill has been sponsored by Sal Esquivel and Buckley locally, and then of course I guess co-sponsors are all of our local representatives. So that's kind of nice to know that's happening.
And that would honor August?
That would honor August as well. And then our local Board of Commissioners will do an order on Wednesday at their Board of Commissioners meeting, honoring him for his accomplishments and, of course, memorializing him in his death.
100 years ago, I guess the death would be 100 years ago tomorrow, but an incredible story.
Yeah, it is. I'm very proud of my family history here and hope to be able to carry on that legacy for years to come.
You absolutely should be. Chris, thanks for coming down. Appreciate it.
Craig.
All right.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.